Hello everyone, this is the Earth Archives. As one of the unsolved events in American history, D.B. Cooper is definitely the subject of discussion to this day. Not only is his method of escape incredible, but he is also a mystery. Let's learn a little bit about this today. Before the show starts, please help subscribe, like and turn on the little bell. This will help the Earth Archives grow. The show starts. The D.B. Cooper incident remains one of the most intriguing unsolved mysteries in American history. It is a tale of audacity, cunning, and a vanishing act that has baffled law enforcement and captivated the public for decades. This article delves into the antecedents and processes of the D.B. Cooper hijacking, meticulously examining the events that unfolded on that fateful day and the enduring enigma that followed. Antecedents setting the stage. On November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, an unassuming man in his mid-40s, dressed in a black business suit, white shirt, black tie and trench coat, purchased a one-way ticket from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. He paid $20 in cash for the Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a short 30-minute trip. The man identified himself as Dan Cooper, later misidentified as D.B. Cooper by the press, a name that would become infamous. Cooper boarded the Boeing 727, a relatively new aircraft known for its distinctive rear stairway. He took seat 18C, though some accounts say 18E, and ordered a bourbon and soda. The flight carried 36 passengers and a crew of 6, including Captain William Scott, First Officer Robert Ratajczak, Flight Engineer Harold Anderson, and flight attendants Tina Mucklow and Florence Schaffner. The hijacking, a bold move. Shortly after takeoff at 2:50 p.m., Cooper handed a note to Florence Schaffner. Believing it to be a standard flirtatious gesture from a businessman, she slipped it into her pocket without reading it. Cooper leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note's exact wording is unknown as Cooper reclaimed it, but Schaffner's recollection included a demand for $200,000 in negotiable American currency, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane for his escape. Schaffner conveyed the message to the cockpit, and Captain Scott immediately contacted Seattle-Tacoma Airport Air Traffic Control, who alerted the FBI. As the plane circled Puget Sound to buy time, Northwest Orient's president, Donald Nyrop, authorized the payment and compliance with the hijackers' demands. The exchange, a tactical maneuver. At 5:24 p.m., Flight 305 landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The plane taxied to a remote, well-lit area, and Cooper instructed Captain Scott to turn off the cabin lights to deter snipers. Tina Mucklow remained with Cooper as the other passengers and flight attendants disembarked. FBI agents delivered the ransom money totaling $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills and the parachutes. Cooper allowed the passengers and 1 flight attendant to leave, while keeping Mucklow and the flight crew. With his demands met, Cooper outlined his escape plan. He directed the plane to head southeast toward Mexico City at the minimum speed possible without stalling 100 knots and to fly at an altitude of 10,000 feet. He also specified that the landing gear remain deployed, the wing flaps set at 15 degrees, and the cabin unpressurized. He instructed Mucklow on how to open the rear stairway during flight, but reassured her that she would not be harmed. The jump vanishing act. At approximately 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 took off from Seattle. As the plane flew over southern Washington between 8 and 8:13 p.m., the crew in the cockpit noticed a change in air pressure, indicating that the rear stairway had been deployed. Mucklow confirmed Cooper's disappearance after a final check. Cooper had jumped into the dark, stormy night, clad in his suit and tie with the ransom money strapped to his body and a parachute on his back. The plane continued to Reno, Nevada, where it landed safely at 10:15 p.m. The FBI began an extensive manhunt, but Cooper was nowhere to be found. The aftermath, a persistent enigma. The FBI launched NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking, one of the most exhaustive investigations in its history. They meticulously catalogued the serial numbers of the ransom money, distributed wanted posters, and questioned potential suspects. Despite extensive efforts, no trace of Cooper was found. The investigation continued for decades, with numerous theories and suspects emerging over the years, but none definitively linked to Cooper. In 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram discovered $5,800 in decaying 20 bills along the Columbia River, which matched the serial numbers of the ransom money. This find reignited interest in the case, but it only deepened the mystery as no other evidence surfaced. The aftermath, an unprecedented search. Following the hijacking, the FBI launched NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking, an extensive investigation aimed at capturing D.B. Cooper and recovering the ransom money. Agents scoured the flight path between Seattle and Reno, focusing on the rugged terrain of southern Washington where Cooper was believed to have jumped. The search included aerial reconnaissance, ground patrols, and even attempts to track serial numbers on the ransom money. The FBI interviewed thousands of potential suspects, checked military and commercial parachute purchases, and examined weather patterns to determine Cooper's likely landing zone. Despite these efforts, no definitive trace of Cooper was found. The investigation faced numerous challenges, including the vast and densely forested search area, the lack of physical evidence, and the absence of witnesses to Cooper's descent. The search for clues, breakthroughs, and dead ends. In 1980, a significant breakthrough occurred when an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram discovered 3 packets of decaying $20 bills along the Columbia River's banks, about 20 miles from Cooper's suspected jump zone. The serial numbers matched the ransom money, suggesting Cooper had lost or discarded some of the cash. This discovery, however, only deepened the mystery as it provided no additional clues about Cooper's fate. Over the years, the FBI continued to receive tips and leads, some credible, others less so. Investigators explored various theories, including the possibility that Cooper did not survive the jump, that he had an accomplice, or that he was an experienced paratrooper with a military background. Despite these efforts, each lead eventually led to a dead end, and the case remained unsolved. Theories and suspects. Who was D.B. Cooper? Speculation about D.B. Cooper's identity has spawned numerous theories and a long list of potential suspects. Some of the most notable include Richard Floyd McCoy Jr., a former Green Beret and experienced skydiver. McCoy hijacked a plane in a similar manner just 5 months after the Cooper incident. He was arrested and convicted for the crime, but many believe he was not Cooper due to differences in the hijacking methods and physical descriptions. Dwayne Weber. In 1995, Weber confessed to his wife on his deathbed that he was D.B. Cooper. His wife later discovered that he had knowledge of details related to the hijacking. However, the FBI could not find conclusive evidence linking Weber to the crime. Kenneth Christiansen, a former Northwest Airlines employee and World War II paratrooper, Christiansen was identified as a suspect after his death. His physical resemblance to Cooper and his possible knowledge of the airline's procedures made him a compelling candidate, but again, no definitive proof was found. Lynn Doyle Cooper. In 2011, Marla Cooper claimed her uncle, Lynn Doyle Cooper, was the hijacker. She provided a photo and recounted a family story suggesting his involvement. The FBI investigated but could not substantiate her claims. The legacy, impact on aviation security. The D.B. Cooper incident had a profound impact on aviation security. In response to the hijacking, the FAA implemented several new measures to prevent similar incidents. These included the installation of Cooper vanes on the rear stairways of Boeing 727s to prevent them from being lowered in flight, stricter screening of passengers and baggage, and the introduction of mandatory searches of carry-on luggage. These measures marked the beginning of a series of increasingly stringent security protocols that have shaped modern air travel. Comparing to the present, the lasting fascination. The D.B. Cooper case continues to captivate the public and inspire a myriad of books, documentaries, and films. The mystery's endurance can be attributed to several factors: the boldness of Cooper's crime, the dramatic nature of his escape, and the lack of a conclusive resolution. In today's world, where technology and surveillance are ubiquitous, the idea that someone could pull off such a heist and vanish without a trace seems almost unfathomable, adding to the legend's allure. Conclusion: the enduring enigma. The D.B. Cooper incident remains one of America's most enduring mysteries, a blend of fact, folklore, and speculation. Despite the FBI officially closing the case in 2016, the search for answers continues, driven by amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike.